All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we are looking at a Doxa. And Doxa is a brand that you might not be familiar with, but they have a very rich history in the watchmaking world. They are Swiss-made, most famously for their divers. They did go in and out of business a couple times, mostly because of the quartz crisis, but they were purchased back in 1997 by the Jenny family and kind of revived, I guess, or reinvigorated. So now you can walk into a Watches of Switzerland, which I did, and happen to see a Doxa sitting in the case and go, "Oh, that's a Doxa. I've never seen a Doxa before." Then you try it on and you leave with a Doxa, despite having no intentions to purchase a watch when you walk into Watches of Switzerland. But anyway, it's enough about my experience. Let's go ahead and look at the watch itself. So, well, and I say watch itself, but I'm going to show you the box first. We got extra links, a hang tag with a reference, got a warranty card underneath. Actually, the only warranty card I have that's actually signed and filled out, which is cool. Most warranty cards come blank to me. And really cool manual. The scuba guy talks about the brand history a little bit in here and the watch itself. And this is one of the nicer owner's manuals that I've received. You know, for what it's worth. You know, there's not a lot of people that actually go through and read those, but it is nice. They put a lot of thought into it. Box here for the watch is kind of a cool, like, waterproof-ish style case with like that waterproof style zipper. Really like this. I think it's a nice touch. Very cute. The watch itself is in here and previously sat on the middle and kind of looked at me straight in the face like that. But when I remove the links, it no longer fits. So for the sake of this video, I will show it to you without the watch on there. This enables you to throw away the warranty card and the, or not throw away the warranty card, but throw away the original cardboard box and put your warranty card in the back of this. So this is the only thing that you have to keep. And for some reason there's a lanyard in here, which is really cool. It's a cool lanyard, but I don't know why we have it. I think it's to put on the back of this case, but I can't think of a single circumstance in terms of why I would want to do that. But it's there. It's nice. So, the Doxa Sub 200. Let me zoom in on this watch for you. So, if you're unfamiliar with Doxa, again, they are most famous for the dive watches, famously worn by Jaques Cousteau and others for diving expeditions, and most famous for their orange dials. So, orange supposedly is the last color to disappear in deep water diving conditions, and so for practical purposes, Doxa was putting out Sub 300s and all that in the orange dial. And you're probably most familiar with the Sub 300 in terms of Doxa and its heritage. And you might think the Sub 300 was the first diving watch from Doxa, but you'd be wrong. This watch is based on the Shark Hunter, and the Shark Hunter is a watch that predates the Sub 300. And the Sub 300 has kind of a smashed, like, turtle kind of case, kind of like the Seiko Turtle in a way. I don't remember exactly what they call it. It's like a cushion case, essentially. If you are familiar with the watch, you'll know what I'm talking about. It is a completely different case style than this watch. But going back to the original Shark Hunter, it was a black dial with basically the same exact design as this. It had tritium loom, so a lot of the ones you'll see today are very patinaed, and it said Shark Hunter right on the dial. This watch is essentially a faithful recreation of that original dive watch. And this watch didn't exist until recently when the Jenny family took it over and they dove deep into their catalog and found that original Shark Hunter watch and decided to recreate it here today. So this is, in my opinion, one of the best value watches and one of the best looking Doxas that you can purchase. And this watch comes in, I think, 6 different colorways: orange, black, yellow, turquoise, silver, white. I'm missing one, I'm sure. But this watch, it's just a classy looking watch, especially when you get it in like the Shark Hunter with that black and even like the blue one. The blue reminds me of like a Seamaster retro throwback, but this is the one I got because of the orange style. Doxa's famous for orange. I had to get the orange. It's my first Doxa. Although this orange is a little bit deeper and darker than the typical Doxa orange. And if I had a Sub 300, I'd show you what I mean, but this dial is a little bit of a different color, orange, than normal Doxas. I don't know why that is, but it is a little bit more like pumpkin-y than the other Doxas, and especially with this like black bezel with the orange loom. it really kind of, I don't know, it reminds me of like the Halloween Oreo in a way. But I wish that the Loom numbers were white, is the only thing I'll say right off the bat with this watch. I think it's a little too much orange. The dial is fine. I love the orange dial. But if the Loom was white, I think the watch would be a lot better off. I think it'd be a little more of a daily wearer rather than like, oh, you must really like orange. Like, I don't know. But as far as the bezel, it's unidirectional and it clicks, you know, just like every diver bezel. No play to be found. Very nicely done. Case itself, I love the design. I love the sapphire crystal, that bubble there. So typically on older dive watches, you'll find like mineral crystal or acrylic in this bubble, and I don't have one in front of me, but my Hesalite Speedmasters have the same thing. So my Speedmaster Reduced has a Hesalite crystal that is bubbled like that, and I think for diving purposes, it's better that way because as you go deeper, the pressure flattens the crystal a little bit and keeps it watertight. I don't know that it's necessary today, but it is really cool that they were able to do this with sapphire crystal. The lady at the watches, the Switzerland store that sold this to me, said that it reminded her of like a submarine window, which is cool. But I don't know about you guys, but recently I no longer want to get in a submarine. Don't know why. But moving on, this Beads of Rice bracelet is the best bracelet in my collection. And definitely the best Beads of Rice bracelet that I've used. It is insanely comfortable, super flexible, and look at how it hangs off the end links there. This thing adds no extra length to the watch. So when this watch sits on your wrist, I mean, it is literally, like, look how flexible this is. This is insane. I don't really care for the polished ends of the watch here, but that's fine. I do prefer brushing on my bracelets for the most part. I don't really mind the Beads of Rice themselves, but these are attracting a lot of grease and fingerprints already. And I like that the side of the case is not polished like that. You'll see some polishing, but most of the case is brushed. Moving on to the dial itself, standard stuff, 2 lines, Doxa Sub 200, very minimalistic. The Loom is very good. Let me see if I can show you the Loom here. Yeah, it looks good. Very bright Loom. And let me turn these lights off here, and I'll see if I can show you. I believe even the bezel is supposed to be loomed, but for some reason I'm having a really hard time getting that to show. Maybe the bezel doesn't have loom. And if that's the case, that's disappointing because I would have preferred that it have white text and loom. But anyway, I'll go ahead and turn these lights back on. And I'll show you the rest of the watch. The crown has their little logo on it, which is cool. And it's standard screw down crown like most divers. You pull it out, and in the first position you can set the date. And then the second position, it hacks the movement, and you can set the time. This is an ETA 2824 movement inside, which for the price, again, I paid $900 for this watch. Well, $990. I think after tax it was like $1060. But this is a $900 watch that comes with heritage, history, a Swiss watchmaking movement, and a Beads of Rice bracelet. And I guess I should say with a caveat, recently I've learned that Doxa is moving into Sellita movements instead of ETA, and it's not their fault because I guess Swatch owns ETA, and I guess they're just not giving out as many ETA movements as they used to, so they are now moving to Sellitas. Sellita effectively is a clone of the ETA 2824, so that's really not a big deal. You're still getting a really nice Swiss-made movement, and it's effectively the same movement. It might just have a little bit different timekeeping in terms of regulation and all that. But going to the back of the watch, we have some text about sapphire crystal, wire resistant to 20 ATM. My understanding is this is 200 meters. I do love that the Beads of Rice are polished on the back, or brushed on the back, I should say. I think it's easy to leave stuff unfinished when you can't see it, but this is a super comfortable bracelet. And it looks really easy to take the end links off here and swap it to, I don't know, like a rubber strap or something, which I may do. I may try that. As far as the clasp is concerned, it's not great. I'm not crazy about the clasp, to be honest. I need to polish that off. Sorry, got lots of fingerprints on this. The clasp itself is fine. It has 4 points of micro adjustment, which is nice. I tend to find that this style safety clasp thing is just cheap, and the mechanism itself is well built, and the clasp is fine. It's a $1,000 watch. I'm not gonna like give him too much crap because for the money you're getting quite a bit. But I will show you the one thing that is kind of unforgivable on this watch, and that is the diver's extension. And for a watch with diving heritage, this is a very cheap diver's extension. I've seen better diver's extensions on, like Pagani design watches, which is not a nice thing to say. And listen to this. That's the diver's extension. So when this thing is shut, you can still hear like jangling from that diver's extension, and it's fine. It's fine. It's a $1,000 watch. Not everything can be perfect, but it gets close. This is a very close watch. I will put it on my wrist just so you can see how it wears. I'll take my other watch off here. And this watch has a little bit of a sentimental attachment to me because I bought it for an occasion. I was out of town for a very specific reason, and I walked into that store and I saw this and I was like, you know what? Yes, today is the day I'll buy this watch. But it fits perfect on my wrist, which, again, I don't really know what my size wrist is. I want to say it's between 6.5 and 6.25, but it wears perfectly. And even though it's 14 millimeters thick, most of that, well, not most of it, but some of it is the crystal shape, and it does not sit that high off my wrist. I think that the case really is designed to form fit to this wrist, or to the wrist, I should say. And it's just a super comfortable watch. I cannot say enough how comfortable this Beats the Vice bracelet is. I mean, you barely even notice this watch is on. It like hugs your wrist in every way. It is not top heavy. The weight distribution is perfect. This is just one of my favorite watches I bought recently. I do want to get the original Shark Hunter design, like the black dial. And I've debated whether I want to sell this one and get that one or not. I do hesitate to wear this sometimes because it is so orange, but it is a fun summer watch, and I cannot recommend this highly enough. Stumbling over my words there, but this is just a fantastic watch, especially for the price. To get a Swiss movement, to get a Swiss brand, to get attention from people to say, "Oh, what is that? Is that a Doxa?" Like that. I've gotten so many comments on the bracelet itself. This is just such an incredible watch for the money. So with that, I'll, oh, you know what though? Before I go, let me give you some measurements because I didn't do that. So, case to crown is 44.2. Case itself, 41. Let's look at the bezel. Bezel's 39. Again, look at how that wraps around the end links there. Insane. 46.2 is lug to lug, and thickness is 14. 13.9, let's call it 14. And again, I typically don't like watches in the 14 and up thickness range because they are just too large. But the way that this case shape is done, if you can see how it tapers there, again, it just wears perfectly. So with that, I will let you guys go. Again, this has been the Doxa Sub 200. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.